Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to just discuss when you should consider link leveling a unit. Now for a lot of players, link leveling is not a thing that they're going to do regularly. So I thought what would be interesting is to maybe do a video on when you should consider whether a unit is worth link leveling. Now obviously it's super important to always consider the passive of a unit, but one thing that's always super important to consider is the overall growth of a unit. So how much does that unit actually gain from being link leveled? For example, some units may only gain 30% attack, 5% for each and every single link. This is not really worth your time. You're not gaining a lot of net value with those units. You can compare great link sets, like the link sets on Ginyu Force units and most extreme based units, to slightly weaker link sets, like standard Super Saiyan based link sets. It's all going to depend on the actual gain that a unit gets from the increased link level. Now sometimes this link level doesn't always have to be link level 10. Sometimes it can be part way as well. Certain links will change at link level 5. For example, Margin gains 1 key. If we look at the Ginyu Force, for example, they're a group that historically has a pretty strong link set. There's a couple reasons why. The first reason why they have a very good strong link set is because it creates great synergy with other Ginyu Force units. A lot of them share the same links. Secondly, some of their links give very powerful bonuses like critical hit chance and also damage reduction, things which are quite invaluable and difficult to get elsewhere. But that's not the only link sets. If you look at the overall gain that you get from link leveling the Ginyu Force, it's not tremendously huge, it's not a massive amount, but it is still very, very good. Some units tend to gain a little bit less. For example, if you look at Super Saiyan units, a lot of them only gain 5% attack, a lot of them don't necessarily gain huge levels of anything really. So that's one way to look at things. Assessing the overall link kit of a unit is always going to be super important, but I'd also like to point out certain links that I think are important to factor in when you're considering whether to link level a unit. For example, one of the major links that one has to consider when link leveling a unit is big bad bosses. We're going to talk about those links in a bit more detail, but just to continue and kind of accentuate my point, if you look at a unit like Janemba has Metamorphosis and Big Bad Bosses. Both of these links can give him a total of over 30% additional start of turn defense once fully link leveled. This is an incredible amount of bonus and dramatically changes how a unit like Janemba can appear, especially at 55%. It will change how he tanks, it will change how he is at the start of the turn, it will dramatically reduce the amount of damage you gain, and with the effects like Guard that he already has, will dramatically affect the amount of damage that Janemba will potentially take from any super attack, because Guard magnifies anything that is raw base defense. So you have to consider the unit's package in conjunction with the links that you are leveling. It's quite a stock standard process, but that's why I'm going to break it down into a couple links that you can highlight to really look at which ones are going to be able to assist you and which ones are going to be able to be focal points that if you see them, maybe they should be warning signs that you should consider link leveling this unit. Now the first one that we're going to start off with I think is a pretty stock standard one. Obviously Cold Judgment. Cold Judgment is a great link, but Cold Judgment does not link level very well. It goes from 20% defense to 25% defense. So even though it's a great link to pick up, you're only gaining 5% by link leveling this link. If you look at that comparatively to other links, it's just not that great. That's one of the things about link leveling. You have to assess what the additional value you get is. If we look at Metamorphosis, for example, Metamorphosis is a great link. It gives you 10% attack and defense. Compare link leveling a unit with Metamorphosis to link leveling a unit with Cold Judgment, and you gain 4 times the stats, which is pretty crazy when you consider all of these things. So you're gaining 20% total in stats comparatively to 5%. Obviously they have different bases, but it is going to dramatically affect the feeling you get on how it improves a unit. The very next link, and obviously a very crucial link that I think a lot of people very much like to talk about is Thirst for Conquest. Thirst for Conquest gives you a huge 10% defense, over double the defense that a link like Cold Judgment will give you. So even though Cold Judgment is a great link, again, link leveling it doesn't get you the innate value that Thirst for Conquest does. And that's why Thirst for Conquest, Metamorphosis, these links are considered so powerful, is because they progress so easily. If we take a look at the final one of the big three, Big Bad Bosses, this link doesn't change in terms of raw stats, but it changes how it affects the calculations. By making Big Bad Bosses link level 10, it becomes automatically applicable at the start of turn. This is a huge buff for units, and if you combine all three of these links, you can dramatically increase how a unit performs. Take a look at Cooler. Cooler has Metamorphosis, Thirst for Conquest, and Big Bad Bosses. By link leveling all three of them to 10, Cooler gains a massive 45% additional defense at the start of turn. This is a huge amount of defense. A similar link in its nature is Saiyan Raw. Saiyan Raw is incredibly similar in the fact that it's a very powerful link amongst SS4 units, but it's one of the highest Saiyan defensive links, giving you 10% additional defense once link leveled. Now it's already a huge attack link at 25%, but the 10% defense can really help out considering superclass units don't tend to have high levels of defense available from their links. So having that extra 10% is pretty high value. GT in its own right is also a very similar link. You will find a similar link in the form of Universe 7 or Tournament of Power, I should say, sorry. Both of these links are powerful. Tournament of Power gives 7% attack and defense, and GT gives 10% attack and defense by link leveling it to level 10. Again, 20% in total in stats. Compare that to something like Kamehameha, which only gives you 5% additional attack by link leveling it to 10, and you can see where the value lies. This usually is kind of limited to smaller categories, but categories like GT tend to benefit from these links quite a bit. So those are some of the more notable links, but what if we take a look at some of the other options that we have? So for example, we have a great link in Patrol. Patrol is a fantastic link. It's only 2 key, but when you fully link level Patrol, it gives you 20% in defense. That's a huge amount of defense for a unit to gain. 20% defense is massive, especially when it's coming off the back of a very powerful key link. Basically becomes a almost better version of Cold Judgment. And so many units have Patrol. It's a very common link on the Defenders of Justice teams. It's quite common among some of the DB Heroes units, and it's very common on the Signature Pose category. So Patrol is a great link. Now some of the units that use it are not necessarily the greatest. So I wouldn't suggest link leveling this physical Great Saiyaman 2. You're not going to get a lot out of it, but you can definitely get quite a lot out of it on Great Saiyaman 1 and 2, who I think are a fantastic unit. I think they're great free-to-play option, and with this additional defense, they start to look really crazy. There's a lot of links like this. Patrol, Signature Pose, a lot of these links are great and really improve your overall performance. So don't be scared to really assess links and take a look at how they change, because they can really alter a unit. Another great one is Margin. Margin starts off as a strong link. It's already a 10% attack and defense link, but a very important factor to it is that it actually gives you 2 key. It'll give you 1 key at link level 5, which is crucial because the Margin team lacks a lot of key links. So having 1 key at level 5 is huge, gaining 2 key at level 10 is massive, and alongside that, most Margin units also feature Infinite Regeneration. Now Infinite Regeneration is a link set that improves hugely just by being utilized. Infinite Regeneration goes from 3% health to being 3% health and over 10% attack and defense. It's a huge upgrade, and Majin Buu units are some of the few units that have a huge amount of value from link leveling. Not only do you gain ki, but you also gain a huge amount of attack and defense. Between Majin and Infinite Regeneration, you can gain over 20% attack and defense and 2 ki, which is huge coming from those 2 links. So it's a very kind of important process to understand what you're link leveling and what you're going to gain out of it. It will take some research. It's not something you're going to be able to get overnight, apologies, but quite frankly, it's very, very powerful. I think personally, links like Dismal Future, Royal Lineage, you should also consider link leveling those, as they help a lot of units. If you look at the links that change from 1 key to 2 key, these can dramatically improve the performance of LRs, such as the LR Trunks and Vegeta. Giving them 2 extra key means getting their 18 key is far easier than if you don't link level them. That 2 key can matter. If you think about it, it's an extra orb, or it's an extra 2 orbs on any given run. So it's all these kind of small things that can really add up to improve a unit. Consider these when you consider which unit you want to link level. I think that's always the most important thing. Whenever we look at units, you need to assess their links. Some units won't have great link sets, and that's okay. It's not every unit that's going to be worth your time to massively link level. Also, don't link level a unit if that unit itself is not good. You can link level a unit that's got big bad bosses, Dose of Conquest, and Metamorphosis, but if they're crap, they're gonna stay crap. But that's it from me. I hope this has been something interesting for you guys, and I hope you at least enjoy the video. But check me in the comments. See you. Bye.